Welcome to Warehouse Automation Matters. I'm your host, Mary Hart, and I'm here with Bryan Boatner, Global Managing Director of Automation at Ranpak, to discuss automation. Welcome, Bryan.
Thanks, Mary. Thanks for having me today.
Thanks for joining us. So, can you give us a quick overview of your role at Ranpak and how your team supports automation in the warehouse space?
Sure. As you said, I lead the automation division here at Ranpak. We're focused on designing intelligent, sustainable packaging solutions that help warehouses become more efficient and less wasteful. We combine smart automation with data driven tools to modernize outdated packaging methods, of which there are many throughout the warehouses, and ultimately support faster, cleaner operations.
So, what initially drew you to the world of automation and what keeps you interested in it?
Well, I've always been drawn to solving problems with technology, and automation is really such a powerful tool to be able to affect that transformation. What keeps me excited is seeing how we can use these systems not just to speed things up, but to actually reduce waste and create more sustainable operations. Going back throughout my work history, I actually started as a manufacturing engineer for GE aircraft engines, not too far away from here in Lynn. There is where I first used my first machine vision system to do a gauge R&R study. And that really opened my eyes to the world of automation more in the manufacturing space than the warehouse space. I ended up spending about 20 years at a machine vision company throughout a range of different roles: application engineering, product management, sales, and business unit management. Firstly, we had focused on the manufacturing automation space, but then I moved over to the warehouse automation space. And having gained that exposure, I then went to work for two other companies. One was in the robotic picking automation space, doing each picking. The other was a robotic mixed case palletizing solution. And both of those were focused more on the front end of the operation of the warehouse in the picking automation area. And then ultimately, for the last 2 years, I've been here at Ranpak. And for me, it's really exciting because I feel like packaging automation really ties everything together. And when you start at the end of the process and make that as efficient as possible, the efficiencies that you can gain upstream are really significant, including working with solutions like what Locus provides.
So let's talk about packaging. How is right size packaging such an improvement for warehouse operations?
Well, what's interesting about it is it really cuts out a lot of the inefficiencies that come with one size fits all boxes. It uses less material, it saves on freight, it reduces damage. Furthermore, it helps e commerce companies provide a memorable unboxing experience for their end customers. And with the right automation in place, it becomes a repeatable, scalable process that boosts both the bottom line and sustainability. We here at Ranpak Automation offer a portfolio of right sized packaging technologies that can address all these needs.
Can you talk about the types of waste that automation helps eliminate? We talked about some of the inefficiencies, but not just packaging material, but also time and labor.
Yeah, certainly. If you think about it, automation really helps eliminate excess packaging and filler. It streamlines labor intensive tasks and it reduces shipping inefficiencies by optimizing box sizes. It's really a holistic way to minimize waste across the entire fulfillment process. Within our portfolio, there's a few examples of this holistic waste reduction. Firstly, what I like to call our Ranpak right size suite of products has a number of different products. One thing that we've done is we've made it very easy to figure out what they do because we've named the products by what they do. So if you take a typical packaging line, the first step is a format, which forms a case or a carton. Then we have a pad it, which robotically inserts a cushioning pad into the carton. Then it'll go to a manual pack station, which is where the operators are placing either a single line order or multi-line order into the carton. Typically, it's multi-line order if you're shipping in a carton. Then it'll go through our decision tower, which is a machine vision-based inspection system to ensure the quality of that shipment. Then it goes through a cut it, which is where our right sizing occurs. So we sense the height of the items within the carton to the appropriate level and then reduce it to that size. And then we place a lid on the carton. And we do that either with a standard lid, no customization, a multi-lid solution, which is great for 3PL providers if they're managing multiple brands through the warehouse, or our custom printed solution where you can uniquely print the end customer's information like their name or a message right on top of the carton. So that's our Ranpak right sizing portfolio, where in an automated fashion, you can significantly reduce a lot of the wastes that we had just identified. Not just the packaging material, but also time, labor, and transportation. In addition to that, we've got some semi-automated solutions, which are a great kind of first step into full automation. A recent product that we launched was Decision Tower, linked with our FillPack Trident solution. So this reduces waste by combining smart automation with sustainable materials. So it uses recyclable paper to create efficient void fill on demand. It eliminates overpacking and reduces packaging material waste. And then the system's AI-enabled Decision Tower optimizes paper usage per box based on real-time data, basically scanning the box, determining how much fill is required, and then dispensing that fill. So that solution streamlines operations by automating void fill delivery, cutting pack time and manual handling. And then the labor is reduced through centralized control and hands-free dispensing of the void fill material.
Many companies focus on reducing their carbon footprint. How does right size packaging support those sustainability goals?
It's a great question. And, one of the things that I really enjoy about working at Ranpak is that kind of perfect combination of more efficient operations with enhanced sustainability. By minimizing material use and optimizing shipping space, right-sized packaging helps cut emissions across the supply chain. Um, this approach lets our customers align cost savings with sustainability. I mentioned that Decision Tower with Trident in that previous question. That one in particular, when it's integrated into the supply chain, it scans each box to measure the void space and dispenses precisely the right amount of paper. By integrating this into your operations, you can reduce paper usage by up to 35%. And it adjusts automatically to different box sizes, delivering a smarter, semi-automated workflow that boosts efficiency. Now, this product in particular, in our 2024 LCA report, our Life Cycle and Analysis report, we did a study of this and we determined that it produces, compared to plastic, 14% less greenhouse gas emissions. It uses 22% less water, and it achieves an end-of-life recycling potential of 81%. Compared to 7% for corresponding plastic products. Our solution is really helping to enhance sustainability profiles of the companies that are using them.
So, from an operations perspective, how does integrating automated packaging systems impact throughput and order cycle times?
So our fully automated solution can enhance throughput with a typical line capable of right sizing up to 3,600 units per hour. So that's extremely high throughput for any high volume e-commerce operation. The automated solution also incorporates machine vision inspection technology to ensure high quality output so that your machine uptime is higher and that only the highest quality cartons make it out to your customer. Because I think that's a really important thing to consider. It's not just the throughput that you want to focus on, it's the cost to achieve that throughput as well as the quality that you're getting with that throughput. And with the combination of a modular state-of-the-art automation technology with machine vision inspection, you can achieve that goal.
So, what role does data play in ensuring packages are right sized consistently and efficiently?
Data, it's such a hot topic right now. Every customer is just so interested in gaining as much insight into their operations as possible. I could talk about this in many different facets, but I guess if you look at our machine vision solutions, data is really what powers intelligent packaging. So Decision Tower uses machine vision and analytics to evaluate the voids in real time and dispense just the right amount of paper. Every package is effectively tailored to the product inside. We also have an exciting partnership with a company called Rabo. So they have a machine vision solution that enables what we call intelligent pack stations. So the Rabo technology is a camera above the pack station that analyzes the operator motion data using machine vision to ensure efficient operations, watch out for ergonomic issues, and ensure that no packaging steps were missed. Lastly, we have our pre-qubit cartonization analysis. Again, pre-qubit is we call it by what it does. So it does a pre-cubing analysis of all of your order data that run through your facility. And what that enables us to do is to determine the optimal footprints of carton sizes that our format is going to automatically produce. And then by sending those after they're packed through our right sizing technology, we're able to achieve very efficient pack outs. So you're really leveraging that data to ensure that you're minimizing your shipment volume to minimize your shipment costs. So data plays such a vital role in all different aspects of a warehouse operations environment. And these are just three examples of how that's done.
So, how do automated packaging systems adapt to the wide range of SKUs that many warehouses now handle?
So I mentioned that's a great question. So pre-qubit that I just mentioned, the whole point of that is to deal with these wide-ranging SKUs. We want to be able to assess all of the order data, understand how much of the volume through a warehouse is what we call big uglies, which are not going to be suitable for automation, and then within the SKUs that are eligible for automation, determine the optimal configuration for the cartons that are going to support that. Pre-qubit doesn't just use a liquid analysis, which is typically what most WMS cartonization algorithms leverage. We actually look at the physical properties and sizes of the items, how they nest together to determine really what's the ideal carton size and the minimal material usage that a customer can achieve. So that's one way that we are adapting to the wide range of SKUs. The other way is that our automation technology, while it's based on this data analysis, is not fully reliant on that data being perfect. And I think this is something that a lot of our customers like to hear because, they'll try to keep their SKUs as up to date and current in terms of dim and weight attributes of the items. But inevitably, there's some data that's not perfect. And if you have an automation system that can acknowledge that and have the chance or the ability to kind of pivot based on what's seen in actual operation, that's something that really enables supporting a wide SKU range with automation. And so the way that Cut It achieves that is basically after an multi-item order is packed, it'll go under the Cut It. And we basically have a plunging sensor that comes down into the box that senses the height of the items. So other systems might rely on the data that was used to construct that multi-unit order. But as we all know, with the manual process and manual pack out stations and a lot of employee turnover happening there, the ideal state isn't always achieved. And having automation that can adapt to that is a really nice relief valve to ensure that you can handle as wide a range of SKUs as possible.
So, what does the journey to automated packaging typically look like from evaluation to implementation?
Yeah, it's a great question. And it's really a consultative journey. We've got a lot of people on our team that have been doing packaging automation, well, warehouse automation, period, and then packaging automation in particular for a long while. We also have packaging engineers that can work with customers to determine the right types of cartons to use to minimize their overall material usage, to ensure that there's product protection and to customize it to be properly implemented from an automation standpoint. We analyze the customer's workflow, volumes, and pain points, and from there, we recommend the right tech stack. We focus on installing it with minimal disruption and having technology that the operators and maintenance teams at the site can support and maintain. We don't require a resident service engineer to keep the automation running. Our focus is on effective and simple modular solutions that the customer themselves can maintain and operate. Of course, we'll have preventative maintenance visits available to ensure that the machine is running in an optimal fashion. But in general, we just focus on that minimal disruption and train the teams for a smooth ramp up.
So, for warehouse leaders that are listening in, what KPIs should they track to measure the ROI of right sized packaging automation?
So it's a lot of the same things that we were talking about earlier on. I think with most automation, the first KPI that people look at is labor. And for a lot of the customers that we work with, it's so hard for them to find labor. When they get good employees, they want to ensure that they're allocating them to the most value add areas. And when you have packaging automation and things like carton creation and carton closing and height reduction, to the extent that you can automate that, is a great enabler for these customers to reallocate labor to other more value added areas, like at the pack station or like in a maintenance role where you're maintaining automation as opposed to doing the kind of repetitive, dull, dirty, dangerous tasks. Um, so I think labor is always the first one. But with packaging automation, you've got all these other avenues of savings. First of all, it's shipping savings because we're right sizing using the pre-qubit analysis to ensure that the optimal cartons are chosen to the right sizing that's performed by the automation. You're reducing the shipping volume and thereby reducing your shipping costs. Because you're implementing automation at the end of the process, typically what we find, and I certainly found this when I was working at the robotic mixed case palletizing company, sometimes you might create a pocket of automation and efficiency, But if downstream all you're doing is queuing up material, then the VP of operations of that facility is going to really kind of question the true ROI of that automation. But with packaging automation happening at the end of the process, you're guaranteed to kind of unblock everything at the end because you are the end. And then to the extent you've done that, you reveal where other efficiencies can be gained upstream. It's hard to describe, but people that have implemented packaging automation have told me how it's really revealed the other inefficiencies in their process and given them more clarity as to what to focus on in terms of their next automation project upstream. So that's another savings. And then lastly, and again, this is another challenging one to ascribe value to, but there's extreme value to it. And that's the wow moment that a customer has, an end customer that gets the product when they open the product. And so many e-commerce operators are focusing on this unboxing experience because that's their connection to this customer. The customer's not going into these stores anymore. They're ordering these materials online, and this is their customer experience. So they want to invest in packaging automation to create packaging that is compelling, that's memorable. With the printed technology that I mentioned, we give these customers the ability to customize the message to an end customer. So that's really exciting. So there's all these different avenues of savings, and especially linking it with picking automation technologies like with what Locus has. If you have that overall end-to-end solution where you've got, picking automation solved, you got packaging automation solved, you're able to run an operation that's very high quality, very high throughput, and very responsive to changing customer demands.
So we just talked about the customer experience and unboxing. How does right size packaging impact the returns or damage rates?
That's a great question. And it's one where the combination of our automation division and what we call our PPS division, it's Protective Packaging Solutions division, really come into play. So a lot of people think that if you're automating the process, you don't need any packaging material. Well, that's not correct. You might not need as much void fill material or any void fill material, but the blocking and bracing to ensure that everything's tightly packed, wrapping of ceramic or glass items to ensure as they're being shipped, they're not being broken. These are all critical things to focus on to ensure that the damage is minimized. Because not only obviously do you want a great unboxing experience and a nice brand representation on the material, but you also can't have any broken items when you're delivering them. So that's kind of first and foremost what we focus on.
So, speaking of that, have you seen expectations shift from customers around packaging and sustainability?
Absolutely. I mean, we are currently in the midst of a significant plastic waste crisis. It's significantly harming our environment and human health. If you look at a lot of the microplastic studies that have been released, it is a little harrowing how much these microplastics have really pervaded a lot of the different elements of our environment. There are many packaging regulations going into effect worldwide to mitigate this crisis. And therefore, more customers are now expecting packaging to be, minimal, recyclable, and responsibly sourced. And so we are seeing a clear shift towards solutions that are both operationally smart and environmentally responsible.
So, can you talk about successful collaborations or integrations that you have with other automation systems like picking, sorting, or robotics?
Yeah, so one that I'd mentioned that's been a great partnership is our partnership with Pickle Robot, actually another local Boston company. So they have very large 6-axis AI enabled, vision enabled robots that handle truck unloading or trailer unloading. So they're focused on unloading heavy items from the backs of trucks or containers. Typically, again, that kind of dull, dirty, dangerous work where robotics are perfect for substituting human labor for. And when you pair this with our packaging automation, it creates kind of that trailer unload is really the first part of the process. Packaging is the very end of the process. So it creates a nice link on a given facility where we have the opportunity to be involved with both sides of the process. And that does boost efficiency, and worker safety. So that's a great partnership. We're also working with, picking automation vendors like Locus to marry the picking automation with the packaging automation. I mentioned that a little bit earlier, but if you envision replacing those plastic totes on the Locus spots with a Ranpak format produced HSC or half slotted case, that's a great way for e-commerce operations to remove a touch from the process from picking to pack out, ultimately reduce labor, improve quality, and improve throughput throughout the facility.
So, what trends or innovations in packaging automation are you most excited about over the next few years?
Well, for me, with a strong background in machine vision, I think that the convergence of machine vision and AI and robotics is where we're going to see a lot of innovations and benefits to end customers. So systems like Decision Tower and our partnerships with companies like Pickle are pushing the boundaries of what's possible with intelligent packaging. We also have a partnership with a company called Rabo that I mentioned earlier, and that's a great partnership where we're leveraging machine vision to analyze what's happening at the pack station, just to ensure that no steps are missed and to make training easier. Across all those solutions, you do have that convergence of machine vision, AI, and robotics. And I think that's really where we're going to see a lot of impact over the next several years.
So, what's one piece of advice that you'd give to a warehouse operator or 3PL that's considering automating their packaging process?
Yeah, great question. I think for as exciting as a lot of the videos that you see from all the different solutions out there in terms of what the end state could possibly be, I think the biggest thing is you want to think big like that, but you also need to start small. Find solutions that are modular but scalable so it could support your overall operation, but you want to start with maybe the most inefficient part of your operation. You want to leverage data to know where to focus on that innovation, and you really want something that can grow with your operation and deliver measurable ROI from day one. I think that ROI, reasonable time frame for ROI, and finding a solution that's modular and that can scale as you grow and you adopt more automation is really key.
So, finally, where can our listeners learn more about Ranpak's automation solutions or get in touch?
Yep. So ranpak.com, and the Ranpak is spelled Ranpak. So ranpak.com is where you'll find case studies, product info, ways to connect with our team. You can also connect with us on LinkedIn, and we'd love to help you explore what's possible.
Thank you. And thanks for joining me today, Brian. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mary. A great discussion.
Thank you. And thanks as always to our listeners. We're here to help you move what matters and package what matters in your warehouse with unmatched flexibility and unlimited throughput.